This next recipe is called pan-fried chicken pie. So I'm starting by chopping up my raw chicken breast. I have 2 chicken breasts here, and I'm gonna cut them into about 1/2-inch pieces. And I find that it's easiest to do this with a pair of scissors. I did go through my chicken before I started doing this and made sure that I felt all over to make sure there weren't any bones or anything like that that could be a problem. Because like I've said before, chicken processing is getting to where it's not as good as it used to be. So frequently finding pieces of bone in these supposedly boneless chickens. Next thing I need to do is finely chop some spring onions. I have 6 here. They have been thoroughly washed, and I always peel the outermost layer off just to make sure what I have is nice and clean. Side. This recipe really works better. It works best if you have everything cut and ready to go when you're starting up your skillet. So the next thing I have are 4 leeks, and these are little baby leeks, so you could definitely get by with 2 of a regular size leek. And I'm going to cut the end off. These have not been washed yet, so I'm going to cut the end off, and then I'm going to slice it like so. And then I'll take this, and you can see all the little layers in there, and you can see the dirt. It's sand, because leeks grow in basically swampy conditions. So I'm going to take this and give it a good rinse under my sink. Alright. And then we'll chop these up. Pull off some of the rougher ones as you get further down. And that's about it for that one. Alright, and I'll do the same for my next ones. Leeks and onions sorted. Now I need 8 ounces of sliced mushrooms. So I've got them already sliced in packaging. If I can get it out of the plastic, I will show you. So these are already washed, already sliced. I am going to pick through them And then like larger ones like this, I'm gonna make smaller. You want everything to be about the same size, because you're cooking it kind of like a stir fry. So everything's pretty much gonna cook together. So you want your timings to be similar. You can go through and pick all the stems off if you want to. Sometimes the stems will be harder, but I'm not going to this time. Okay, so now all my mushrooms are done. Now I'm going to move over here to my stove. And I have my skillet heating up. I have a tablespoon of high heat olive oil and 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. And I'll let this start melting and getting warm. And I'm going to go ahead and add my chicken. So this is my 2 chicken breasts that I diced up. And we'll go ahead and get those in. Alright. I'll grab my spatula, get those even in the pan. You're not really looking to brown this chicken, so because I know a bunch of people are going to say, oh, you put it in, the pan's not hot yet. I'm not really looking to brown this chicken, I'm just looking to cook it. So it doesn't really matter, you can go ahead and put it in a cool pan. It'll warm up and be fine. Okay, so now my chicken is done, and I have a couple tips for being able to tell how that is. First of all, you'll see everything turn from pink to white, and as soon as you can't see any more pink, give it 1 more minute in your pan. And then the other thing is you will kind of hear this like rubbery squeak. I don't know if you can hear it. And that squeak is typically indicative that everything is done. So next thing I'm going to do is transfer it over into my bowl. My bowl has a strainer because in order to make this into a pie, I have to get rid of a lot of excess liquid. Otherwise my pie will be soggy and it just won't work as well or be as appetizing. So I'm going to strain off all my chicken. I'm not worried about the liquid in my skillet because I'm getting ready to add my vegetables into here to keep cooking. So now this oil and butter has been flavored by my chicken. I'm going to turn my heat down just a smidgen. And now I'm going to add all of my veggies that I have here. Whoop, as they fall off the back of my tray. So we'll bring these over here. And I'm going to add in my spring onions. It doesn't matter what order you put these in. You drop them all in at once. I'm trying to film with one hand and put everything in with one hand, so it's kind of just becoming what I can grab. You're going to let these cook in this butter mixture until everything is nice and soft. Probably take I'd say probably about 4 minutes just to make sure everything is nice and done. Once you get to the actual pie making stage of this, we won't be doing any cooking really, so it's not going to be cooking any of the inside stuff, so you'll need to have made sure you've done all of that before you put it into the actual pie case. Alright, so we've got all that added in. Take my spatula back. We're going to mix it all around. Your house will start smelling amazing. If you find you need some more liquid at this point, don't add any water or anything like that. You can add a little more oil if you'd like to, or you can add the liquid that has drained off of your chicken. So I'll show you. If I move this chicken, I have about probably 2 tablespoons of liquid there, and I'm just going to add that back in my pan. Put my chicken back over, and I'm going to saute these for the next 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, so these have been cooking down for about 4 minutes, and you can see they've shrunk significantly. Now there isn't a lot of liquid in this pan, so I think what I'm going to do, instead of straining this time, since my spatula is slotted here, I'm just going to strain them like that and dump it over into my pan. Dump it into my bowl with my chicken. And I have turned this pan off. We're actually finished with this pan now. Okay, so now to my bowl, I'm going to add 4 teaspoons of dill. This is dried dill. And then I'm going to add 4 teaspoons of dried parsley. If you have fresh, this would be 4 tablespoons instead of teaspoons. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of black pepper. And I'm not going to add any salt just yet. Alright, let me get my spoon. And we'll mix this all up. Okay, now I'm going to add 5 ounces of feta. And this is a 10-ounce container, so I'm going to try to do half. Although I have never found where too much feta is a problem. Okay. I actually have never tried feta before until I tried this recipe and found that I love feta. So before you go and change a recipe, give it a chance with the ingredients that are in it, and you may be very surprised. You may find that you really like something. Okay, that's looking good. Now I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of heavy whipping cream. And this just kind of brings everything together. Alright, now it's time to make the pie. Okay, so I'm sure you're wondering how this becomes a pie. So, you haven't seen me make any pie crust or anything like that. Because that's not part of this situation. So this isn't really a traditional pie. I'm going to be using phyllo dough. So, and it's going to be fried in my skillet instead of baked in the oven. So first thing I do, put some high heat olive oil in the bottom of my pan, just a little bit, just enough to coat it. Then I'm going to take my phyllo sheet. If I can get them to cooperate, this is always really fiddly. And I'm going to take my sheet and I'm going to lay it right like so. And you want it to overlap a little bit. And this part you want to do pretty quickly because these sheets are drying out every second they're out. You want to overlap your corners because this is going to be the shell that holds all of your filling in. Okay, then we'll take our olive oil and spread everything really well. Get everything nice and moist. Make sure you do your edges. Alright. Okay. Make sure I put my wet paper towel back over my dough. Now I'm going to add half of my filling. And this is still warm. I haven't chilled it or anything like that. Alright, get everybody to the edges. Go ahead and add all of it in. And you can see there's very little moisture left in my bowl. And that's what you want. You don't want this super soggy because then your pie is going to be super soggy. Alright. Get everything to the edges and you want this nice and flat. Pushed all into the edges and kind of push down and make it more of a solid contraption there. Alright. Now I'm going to put a piece of dough down. If it will cooperate. Alright. This is one that has decided it's needed to tear, but that's okay because this is my kind of barrier in the middle there, so that when I flip it, this will then become the bottom, and I want everything to stay in properly. And I'll put another one this direction. Alright, now I'm going to fold over my edges. Get everybody folded in well. And I kind of pull away from the edge as you're folding. Don't pull too hard where it rips. Nice. Alright, like so. Now you're going to spray again with your olive oil, which I have to pump back up. And get everything nice and moist. Pump it up again. Just make sure we have plenty here. don't want to have any issues with it breaking. Oil makes it nice and pliable, and you can make sure that everything is tucked down nice, everything is oiled well, and that it's going to stay together. Okay, all right. So now I'm going to turn my skillet on to low, and this is going to cook for 8 minutes, and then I'll show you how to flip it. Okay, so now comes the fun part. Now we have to flip this thing over. So I have a flat glass cake stand. I'm going to put it on top like so. Then I'm going to take my oven mitts and now I'm going to flip it over onto my pan like so. I'm going to sit it down over here. I'm sorry, you probably can't see what I'm doing. Then I'm going to put my skillet back on the stove, add a little bit more oil, and then I'm going to slide my pie. See, it's nice crispy crust. I'm going to slide it back in. Alright. Get it down in there properly. It did break up a little bit, but that's okay. It's still going to taste great. So this is the crispy edge that you're looking for. So now we're going to give this another 8 minutes, and then we'll turn it out onto probably that same plate. Let it cool for a few minutes, and then it'll be ready to eat. Alright, I'll show you how I like to serve this pie up. So I have this is a little pie server. You're actually supposed to bake it in your pies. Haven't tried it that way yet, but we're going to try it for this today. So you can hear that crispy crust. And cut down. Make sure you get that bottom crust all the way. Then we're going to use this to lift up. Put it on a plate. Just like that. I'm going to serve this with some green beans. But yeah, that's what you're looking for, and I'll show you down here. So it's nice and thin and crispy.